The year is 1939. The world stands at a crossroads, teetering on the edge of an abyss. In cities and villages across the globe, people wake to headlines that will change the course of history. The air is thick with uncertainty, and a sense of foreboding hangs over every conversation, every gathering, every whispered rumor. The world is about to be engulfed by a conflict unlike any it has ever seen. As the days of 1939 slip by, the tension in Europe becomes palpable. Calendar pages flip with a sense of dread, each day bringing new developments, new fears. On the bustling streets of Paris, Berlin, London, and Warsaw, the ordinary rhythms of life are interrupted by the extraordinary. People gather in cafes and on street corners, anxiously discussing the latest news, wondering what tomorrow will bring. World leaders, their faces etched with worry and resolve, address their nations. Radios crackle with urgent broadcasts, carrying voices that echo across continents. In living rooms and public squares, families huddle together, straining to catch every word, every hint of what the future might hold. The world watches as Europe erupts. Borders shift overnight, alliances are tested, and the old order begins to crumble. The shockwaves of war ripple outward, touching every corner of the globe. The Nazi war machine, a terrifying display of might and ruthlessness, unleashes its fury. Tanks thunder across the countryside, soldiers march in lockstep, and the skies darken with the shadow of the Luftwaffe. The world witnesses the brutal efficiency of blitzkrieg, lightning war, designed to overwhelm and devastate. Poland falls, crushed under the weight of blitzkrieg. Cities are reduced to rubble, and families are torn apart as refugees flee the advancing armies. The world is horrified by the speed and savagery of the invasion, and the realization dawns that no nation is truly safe from the storm that has been unleashed. The very foundations of civilization tremble. Air raid sirens wail through the night, sending civilians scrambling for shelter. Streets once filled with laughter and life are now scarred by bomb craters and shattered glass. The war is not confined to the battlefield. It reaches into every home, every heart. This is a fight for survival, a struggle against tyranny, a defining moment in human history. Across the world, people are called to action. Propaganda posters urge citizens to stand firm, to defend freedom at all costs. Soldiers steel themselves for the battles ahead, while civilians volunteer for the war effort, determined to do their part. The United States, though hesitant to rejoin the fray of war, begins to mobilize. Factories roar to life, churning out tanks, planes, and munitions. Recruitment posters line the streets, calling young men and women to serve. The nation, still haunted by the memories of the Great War, debates its role in this new conflict, but the tide of history is irresistible. From the ashes of global conflict will rise a generation of leaders, men who will shape not only the outcome of the war, but the future of the world. These are men forged in adversity, tested by the fires of battle, and driven by a vision of a better tomorrow. Among them stand three figures: Douglas MacArthur, George C. Marshall, and Henry Hap Arnold. Each brings a unique perspective, a distinct set of skills, and an unwavering commitment to the cause of freedom. These men, each with their own unique experiences, embodied the American spirit. MacArthur, the bold strategist; Marshall, the master organizer; Arnold, the visionary of air power. Together they represent the hopes and determination of a nation rising to meet its greatest challenge. They represented a nation thrust onto the world stage, tasked with confronting unimaginable challenges. American troops board ships bound for distant shores, supplies flow across the Atlantic, and diplomats work tirelessly to build alliances. The United States is no longer a bystander, it is a central player in the fight for the future of humanity. Their stories are not merely tales of battles won and lost, but narratives of courage, strategic brilliance, and unwavering resolve. In war rooms and on battlefields, these leaders make decisions that will alter the course of history. Their choices, their sacrifices, and their vision will echo for generations to come. The fate of the free world hung in the balance. Every decision, every battle, every act of resistance or surrender carries immense weight. The world holds its breath, waiting to see which way the scales will tip. Their leadership, forged in the fires of conflict, would prove instrumental in securing victory for the Allies and laying the groundwork for a new world order. The world that emerges from the ashes of war will be forever changed, shaped by the courage and vision of those who dared to lead when the world was on fire. In the Pacific theater, a different kind of war raged. Unlike the vast tank battles and city sieges of Europe, the Pacific was a war of islands, of endless blue horizons, and of brutal close-quarters combat. Here the stakes were just as high, but the challenges were unique. Soldiers faced not only a determined enemy, but also the unforgiving elements of the tropics: sweltering heat, torrential rains, and dense mosquito-infested jungles. The Pacific was a place where the very environment could be as deadly as any bullet or bomb. Here, amidst the vast expanse of ocean and jungle, General Douglas MacArthur faced the rising sun of Japanese imperialism. The Japanese military machine, emboldened by early victories, seemed unstoppable as it swept across the Pacific, threatening to engulf Australia and sever vital Allied supply lines. MacArthur, with his signature cap and corncob pipe, became the face of resistance in this theater, a symbol of Allied determination to hold the line against overwhelming odds. MacArthur, already a seasoned veteran, embodied a blend of tactical brilliance and unwavering self-belief. His leadership style was bold, sometimes controversial but always decisive. He inspired fierce loyalty among his troops, who saw in him a commander willing to share their hardships and lead from the front. MacArthur's strategic vision was clear: to halt the Japanese advance, regroup, and then strike back with relentless force. His appointment as Supreme Commander of Allied forces in the Southwest Pacific thrust him onto the front lines of a conflict that would test the limits of human endurance. MacArthur was tasked with coordinating a diverse coalition of American, Australian, and Filipino forces, each bringing their own strengths and challenges to the fight. The logistical hurdles were immense. Vast distances, limited resources, and the constant threat of Japanese attack made every decision critical. The Japanese swept through Southeast Asia, conquering territory with alarming speed. Their victories in Malaya, Singapore, and the Dutch East Indies sent shockwaves through the Allied command. Each new conquest brought the Japanese closer to Australia and threatened to isolate the United States from its allies. The world watched anxiously as the balance of power in the Pacific seemed to tip ever further in Japan's favor. Forced to retreat from the Philippines, MacArthur uttered words that would forever be etched in the collective memory: "I shall return." This was not just a promise to his troops, but a vow to an entire nation left under occupation. The retreat was a bitter blow, but MacArthur's resolve only hardened. From the safety of Australia, he began to plan the long and difficult road back, determined to liberate the Philippines and restore hope to its people. This promise became a beacon of hope for the Filipino people, a testament to MacArthur's belief in Allied victory. For those living under Japanese occupation, his words offered comfort and courage in the darkest of times. As the war raged on, the legend of MacArthur grew, inspiring not only his own soldiers, but also millions across the Pacific who longed for freedom. The struggle in the Pacific was far from over, but the determination to hold the line, and eventually push forward, would shape the course of history. MacArthur's strategic brilliance was best exemplified by his island-hopping campaign. He devised a bold plan to bypass heavily fortified Japanese strongholds and focus on capturing strategically important islands. This approach, though initially met with skepticism, allowed Allied forces to advance steadily across the Pacific while minimizing casualties. Each operation was a testament to the courage and sacrifice of the Allied fighting men. The campaign culminated in the liberation of the Philippines, a moment of profound significance for both MacArthur and the Filipino people. His triumphant return at Leyte Gulf fulfilled his promise and cemented his legendary status. MacArthur's leadership in the Pacific played a pivotal role in securing Allied victory. While General Douglas MacArthur commanded attention in the Pacific, leading daring offensives and capturing headlines, another figure was quietly orchestrating the entire Allied war effort from the heart of Washington, D.C., in the shadowy corridors of power, far from the front lines. A different kind of battle was being waged, one of strategy, logistics, and vision. This was a war not of bullets and bombs, but of plans, coordination, and relentless determination. General George C. Marshall, serving as Army Chief of Staff, was the mastermind behind the scenes. A master strategist and logistical genius, Marshall was often called the organizer of victory for good reason. His calm demeanor and sharp intellect allowed him to see the bigger picture, making decisions that would shape the fate of nations. Marshall's leadership style was marked by humility and a steadfast commitment to duty, earning him the respect of both his peers and subordinates. His contributions, though less visible than those on the front lines, were no less significant. While others fought on distant battlefields, Marshall was fighting to ensure they had the resources, information, and support they needed to succeed. He worked tirelessly, often late into the night, overseeing complex operations and making critical decisions that would ripple across the globe. Marshall's keen intellect and unwavering dedication made him invaluable to President Franklin D. Roosevelt. The president relied on Marshall not only for military advice but also for his sound judgment and integrity. Their partnership was built on mutual trust, with Roosevelt often turning to Marshall during the most challenging moments of the war. Under Marshall's direction, the United States underwent a dramatic transformation. He oversaw the mobilization of millions, turning a modest peacetime army into a formidable military machine capable of waging war on multiple fronts. Factories roared to life, producing tanks, planes, and weapons at an unprecedented scale, while new recruits were trained and deployed with remarkable efficiency. Marshall's vision extended beyond the battlefield. He understood that victory depended on the strength and unity of the entire nation. One of Marshall's greatest strengths was his innate ability to identify and nurture talent. He recognized the potential in leaders like Dwight D. Eisenhower and Omar Bradley, giving them opportunities to rise and prove themselves. Marshall's eye for leadership ensured that the right people were in the right positions, ready to meet the immense challenges ahead. His decisions regarding key commanders proved crucial in shaping the course of the war. By assembling a team of brilliant strategists and field commanders, Marshall created a leadership structure that could adapt, innovate, and respond to the ever-changing demands of global conflict. His steady hand guided the Allies through some of their darkest hours. In the end, Marshall ensured the right people were in place to lead the Allies to victory. His legacy is not only measured in battles won, but in the enduring strength and unity he brought to the Allied cause, a true architect of victory whose influence shaped the outcome of World War II and the world that followed. Marshall's strategic acumen shone in planning Operation Overlord, the D-Day invasion of Normandy. This daring operation, a massive amphibious assault, was a gamble of unprecedented proportions. Its success hinged on meticulous planning, flawless coordination, and the courage of Allied soldiers. Marshall, despite intense pressure, never wavered in his belief that the operation could succeed. The success of D-Day marked a turning point, paving the way for the liberation of Western Europe. After the war, Marshall spearheaded the Marshall Plan, helping rebuild war-torn Europe and laying the foundation for decades of peace. His vision helped reshape the post-war world and cemented his legacy as a true statesman. While MacArthur and Marshall commanded armies, General Henry Hap Arnold looked to the skies, envisioning a future where air power would be decisive. Arnold, a pioneer in military aviation, recognized early the transformative potential of air power. As head of the Army Air Forces, he oversaw unprecedented growth and technological advancement. He championed new aircraft like the B-17 and B-29, which proved instrumental in strategic bombing campaigns. Arnold's belief in air power, often in the face of resistance, helped shape the future of warfare. Under Arnold's leadership, the Army Air Forces became a formidable force, pivotal in securing Allied victory in both Europe and the Pacific. The strategic bombing campaign against Germany significantly hampered the Nazi war machine. In the Pacific, the B-29 superfortress proved decisive in bringing the war to an end. Arnold foresaw a future where air power would be essential to maintaining peace and deterring aggression. He advocated for a separate air force, realized in 1947 with the creation of the United States Air Force. Arnold also championed training programs to develop skilled pilots and aircrew. He understood that success depended on both superior aircraft and highly trained personnel. The legacies of MacArthur, Marshall, and Arnold extend far beyond the battlefields of World War II. These generals helped shape the world we live in today. MacArthur's leadership in the Pacific demonstrated the importance of adaptability and resolve. Marshall's organizational genius built the Allied war machine that defeated Nazi Germany. Arnold's visionary leadership ushered in a new era of air power. Their legacies extend beyond military strategy. They understood true victory meant building a more peaceful and prosperous world. Marshall's work on the Marshall Plan helped rebuild Europe and sowed the seeds for decades of peace. The lessons from MacArthur, Marshall, and Arnold remain relevant today. Their stories remind us of the importance of leadership, courage, and dedication in the face of adversity. MacArthur's hope, Marshall's consensus building, and Arnold's innovation inspire us to strive for excellence. As we face new challenges, let us remember the sacrifices and vision of those who shaped history. Their stories serve as a beacon of hope, proving the human spirit can triumph over adversity.